Welcome back to another episode of Navigating Endo with Ashley. Today, I'm excited to share with you that this year marks 10 years since my initial diagnosis. So what's happened since, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. After 17 years of living in excruciating pain, I received my diagnosis of stage 4 endometriosis. Following my procedure, I was discharged back to my gynecologist. After a couple of appointments with my gynecologist, we came to the agreement that I would try out using an IUD. Now keep in mind, I had never had an IUD inserted before. When it came to the appointment day to have the IUD put in, I was not at all prepared. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. IUD insertion for me was absolutely horrendous. And within 24 hours, I was in the emergency room and I was on some strong medication to tamper down the pain a little bit. After my emergency room visit, it was decided between myself and my gynecologist that I was going to keep the IUD in and let my body adjust to having a foreign object inside. And so I did that. And it took me about 2 months, two and a half months to regulate. My personal experience with an IUD was not great, but keep in mind, everyone's experience is completely different and it depends on how your body responds. So in addition to having an IUD, I also received an injectable medication, which I received every 3 months. So 4 years after my exploratory laparoscopy that diagnosed me with stage 4 endometriosis, I had my IUD taken out at the hospital. Now please note, I hope that anyone who is considering having an IUD put in, that there are more pain management options available to you, because when I had mine put in, there was no options open to me, and there should be. We need better pain management. Due to my unfortunate experience with having an IUD inserted and my body not handling or adjusting very well, I opted to not have another one put in after the initial one was taken out. And I was trialed on different birth control pills after that. So 5 years after my initial diagnosis with endometriosis, I was still having a lot of pain, and I went back to see one of my specialists at the time, who put me through a bunch of tests. I'm actually going to link my video here, so you can go check out that particular journey. But what I will let you know is the next diagnosis was adenomyosis. Quick disclaimer, I just want to let you know, so I'm kind of going off of the best to my recollection or best of my memory, but if you check out my videos on my specific procedures, that has the most accurate information about my experience. So if anything's a little bit off, please give me a little bit of grace. So in and around the time that I had my diagnosis of adenomyosis, I had a pap smear done that showed abnormal cells, which ended up referring me to our local women's college hospital, and that set off a new set of testing and procedures, and the first of which being called a colposcopy. Again, so that you get a little bit more accurate information on my experience with my colposcopies, I actually had 2. And the first colposcopy, they did a biopsy. Also an excruciating experience that needs better pain management in my opinion. And I'll show you the thumbnail here, so you know which video to check out. So as many of us endo warriors are, I'm quite hypervigilant when it comes to my health, and I listen to my body, and I'm not afraid to keep track of things and bring them forward to my doctor when I think they're concerning. So a couple of other things that have come up along my journey in the past 10 years. One would be functional bowel disorder, and how that came about was I had an endoscopy and colonoscopy done following a period of time where I was having some very intense and quite serious eating issues and gastrointestinal issues, as well as hiccups with my bowel movements and so forth. And so thankfully I have an awesome family doctor who is also not afraid to give referrals to see if anything more serious was happening. I'm glad to say that this is one test that I'm glad came back normal in my experience. They did not find anything concerning at the time, and so they gave me a general diagnosis of functional bowel disorder. What else? High blood pressure. I found that one out by accident. One of my trips to the emergency room scared me a little bit because of the triage nurse's response. I had a very high reading, and at the time I had no idea what the numbers meant on the blood pressure cuff machine, and now I'm very aware. So when she was concerned, she said, please go talk to your family doctor, and I said, okay, I will. And in the meantime, I got an at-home blood pressure monitor, like a cuff. And one important thing to note about blood pressure monitors, at-home ones, you have to make sure that you calibrate it with a legitimate blood pressure cuff. So what I did was I went to a local pharmacy to check the readings, and then I compared it to my portable at-home one, and they were nearly identical readings. Blood pressure is not something that I was ever really concerned with. I feel like, just generally speaking, I'm quite active. I feel young. I'm not as young as I used to be, of course, but I eat pretty well and I take daily supplements. So if it weren't for the emergency room nurse being concerned, I might not have paid any attention to it. So just something to be mindful of. Our hearts are so precious, and blood pressure can cause a lot of issues if it goes undetected. So if you have any concerns, definitely check in with your healthcare professional or your primary care provider. My biggest takeaway and the best thing that has come out of these past 10 years is the community. You all are amazing. Even if we've never communicated before, if you've dropped a comment under any of my videos and we've had a brief second to interact, I really appreciate it. There's a massive community on Instagram as well. And it's not just the endometriosis and adenomyosis community, it's the chronic illness and chronic pain community. Everyone there is so supportive with each other's conditions, spreading awareness, helping each other out. Sometimes if it's just a chat, it's amazing. And if you're not already connected, I highly recommend that you connect with others that you don't know across the world online, and or join a support group. There's so many amazing support groups for people with chronic illness, and I can't say it enough. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. I love you all. I would love if you could subscribe if you're interested in these videos. If you hit the like button, that'd be awesome. If you want to share, that would be great as well. And I, as always, will link my social media handles in the description below. So if you comment, I would do my best to respond back. If I don't, I promise it's not personal. It's just because sometimes the comments seem to get lost. But thank you so much, and I will talk with you soon.